Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Joining me today is Ken Lima-Coelho, who is Vice President of Community Engagement with the YMCA. Thanks for joining us today, Ken.
Thanks for having me, Mario. Great to be here.
Well, you have exciting news to share today, so I'll let everybody know.
Thank you so much. Well, we are so thrilled to let everybody know the YMCA is back. We're back and reopened. We have had, as for obvious reasons, because of COVID, we've had a number of months that we were shut down. I think it's almost 11 months out of the past 16 that we were closed in some fashion or very limited in scope. But we are back. We've still, got some protocols in place and other things. But I'm at the Remington Y in the south here. There's people headed upstairs to go work out. There's some people in the pool. Our childcare center is still operating, of course. We are so glad to be back in community, and we're thrilled to be serving Calgarians all over the city again.
So all the locations are open?
Yes, with the exception of one. The only location currently operating that is not available right now is the South Health Campus location. We do have a small YMCA inside the South Health Campus Hospital. That's in partnership with Alberta Health Services. And as you can imagine, still being inside a pandemic, AHS requested that we keep that small facility closed. But all of our other facilities all over the city are operating, and we are thrilled to be back.
Just refresh my memory, Ken. How many facilities are there in Calgary?
So there's 7 facilities currently, and like I said, 6 of them are operating. We are in the north, in the south, and the east, all over the place. We've got the 2 large, real big anchor centers in the northwest of Calgary, the Shane Homes YMCA, which is a very, very large facility up by Butterfield Acres up there. Yeah. And then, of course, the Brookfield YMCA down in the south in Seaton. But then we operate at Shaughnessy and Saddletown and right here in Quarry Park, where I am, Melcor YMCA up in Crowfoot. So we've got 2 facilities all over town.
So tell me how this is going to look for a person to come in and use the Y right now, like what you run through with me, like what's still in place, whether for safety protocols or whatever.
Yeah, what we did is we took a bit of a measured approach. We want to make sure that as people come back to community, they're feeling comfortable. We can maintain the sort of proper protocols. We're still technically, of course, in stage 2 right now, but even in through stage 3 and through the summer, we want to sort of ease back into it along with our staff and volunteers. So what does it look like? I mean, it's actually not a lot different than from when we closed back in April, the second time. This would be, or sorry, that was the third time. There is a schedule in place that we're asking people to book appointments. Now, whether that is as a member of the YMCA, if you've got a membership with us, or you're just dropping in, there's a very simple appointment booking system, but that allows you to do a whole bunch of things. You can go on our weight floor, you can go for a walk upstairs on a treadmill or on our running tracks in beautiful air conditioning. I must say, it's not a bad thing right now. Yeah. You can go for a swim, either lane swim as an individual or a family swim, where you sort of we give you almost the whole pool. There are some classes happening. Many of them are happening outdoors. We are doing a lot of boot camps and this kind of thing outdoors. Now on a hot day like this and this week, maybe that's not perfect for you, but we will be doing some well distanced and sort of well maintained classes inside as well. We're also doing day camps. Day camps is a huge part of the YMCA experience, especially for for kids and for families. So day camps start July 5th. There are spaces all over the city, for week-long day camps, and that gives parents a little reprieve from having their little ones around or their kids. So yeah, things will look a little different. I mean, we are maintaining some protocols. I've got my mask right here, and masks are being worn in all YMCA activities, just because that is the sort of safe thing to do. We've got our enhanced cleaning happening. We are distancing people, as appropriately on the weight floor and in classes and stuff. Some of the things you might have expected over the course of the pandemic are still in place, and frankly, we're going to keep them in place. Just like I said, as people come back to community, they want to feel comfortable. They want just a little bit of belts and suspenders when it comes to feeling good. So we've we've got some great advice in that regard from some medical professionals to say, yes, people need you. It's great for mental health to be back at the Y and to be connecting with people, but do, be cautious as you sort of put your best foot forward. So we're maintaining some of those protocols.
Okay, Ken, from a business or financial point of view, how difficult has it been in the past year or so for you guys?
Yeah, and I won't lie to you, Mario. It's been difficult. We're a charity. The YMCA is a charity and operates that way, but in a lot of ways, we're an earned revenue charity. I mean, we rely on people, connecting with us and investing us through a membership. That's our main model, or through drop-in or through program delivery. Geez, I've lost track. I think we were without revenue largely for 11 of the past 16 or 17 months. So it has been a challenge. Now, that said, we have always made good financial decisions. The YMCA in Calgary is nothing new. We've been around for 119 years. Darn it, it's not going down on our watch. So we have maintained some good reserves and had to tap into those. We've had some partnership opportunities, and frankly, we've had some great donor engagement. Many people who value the Y have come through and kept their memberships going, even though they couldn't use the facility, made investments in the Y, matching donations and grants, those kind of things. The government, have to give due, like many organizations, the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy has been very helpful to us, as some other federal programs and provincial ones as well. So with that in mind, cobbling together all those things, dipping into the rainy day fund a little bit, we'll pull through this, but it's been enormously challenging. We've had to lay off temporarily many hundreds of staff, 3 times, and unfortunately many hundreds of staff also permanently. Now, at this point, we know we're going to get back to the powerhouse that the YMCA was in Calgary soon enough, but it'll take time, and so we'll have to be resilient and weather through. But we're feeling optimistic, and boy, when you actually see people in the building, it's a whole different feeling.
Yeah. I'm curious about that, when you're saying, see people in the building. One of the things that, the pandemic has done is created new habits and behaviors for people, right? So a lot more people have been outside and doing things outside or doing things at home, the whole Peloton craze, right? Et cetera. Is there any concern there that a lot of people that used to come religiously to the Y may have gone to different directions now?
Yeah, it's certainly a consideration that we're making. I would say 2 things. Number one, while we weren't available, I am very glad that people have been investing in their own wellness, whether that's going for a walk once a day or, buying that, $4 million Peloton or whatever that looks like. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I would say 2 things, however. Number one, there is no replacement for community. Really, before we're a gym, we're a community building. We're a community center. We call ourselves centers of community because that's what we are. Your children can be here at the same time that mom's having a workout, at the same time that dad's having a coffee with a buddy. That's some of those things are harder to replace. We know that we have really substantial and beautiful facilities, and they're not just one SKU, as it were. It's not just, a pool or a gym. We've got libraries inside our facilities, or very close to. We've got community spaces where people can have meetings or connect. We've got walking groups. We've got cycling groups. We've got all that stuff. And it's pretty hard to have a day camp in your basement. So I would say that, the people have found some other options. And like I said, I support that and applaud that in some ways. But for us, the aspect of community is what our major focus is. If I have to say, what the YMCA is about, it's about belonging. And when it comes to belonging, that's something that is irreplaceable. The other thing I would say is there's a sign on the door as you walk into this facility that says "Give, so no one is turned away." And no one being turned away from YMCA is bedrock to what we do. Even through the pandemic, they're the best of times and the worst of times. That sign's been on the door because people can get, subsidy or have opportunities to join us no matter what their situation. So if you can't spend $4,000 on an exercise bike in your basement, you can still come to the Y, and that's the way we're going to keep it.
Okay, one last question for you, Ken. It's kind of unrelated, but I just wanted to ask you if you could update us on what is happening with the Eau Claire location.
Yeah, thanks for asking. That was a difficult decision. The Eau Claire YMCA that operated for over 32 years in the downtown core. We were looking at that property for a number of years. This wasn't a sort of pandemic issue as such, but it certainly exacerbated it. Made the decision, and not an easy one, a very difficult one in February, that that location would be closed as a wellness facility. Frankly, there was a lot of needs, an older facility. There was a few issues with the actual building itself. The market had changed dramatically around us with the downturn in the economy. We're seeing quite a few less people coming in. And then just some of the amenities. I'll give you an example. I have a son and a daughter. I would go down to the Eau Claire Y where I worked, and there was no universal change room. So if I wanted to go swimming with my kids, I'd go into the change room with my son and send my daughter in and hope she came out, because I couldn't be in there with her. So there was some challenges with that. What has ultimately happened is we have closed it permanently as a wellness facility. Now, the facility is owned by the YMCA, as is the land underneath it. So we're working with a company in town, JLL they're called, as a real estate partner. And that property is now available to be looked at, whether it should be sold or whatever that looks like. It is available to be looked at. If anybody's interested, they can go to our website, ymcacalgary.ca/Eau Claire. Just take a look there, and there'll be a phone number to call, or you can talk to JLL, the property managers. Hopefully, somebody is interested in that facility, whether in the way it stands right now or in some other scenario, and we can take whatever earnings from that and reinvest them into the YMCA, because we are still in many centers all across the community, and our charity needs that support. So. Like I said, wasn't our first choice, but it was a necessary one for the resiliency of the Y. So we made it, and now we're looking at it as an opportunity.
All right, super. Thanks a lot, Ken, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
All right, that was Ken Lima-Coelho, who is Vice President of Community Engagement for the YMCA. This has been Mario Toneguzzi with Business Insider on YYC Business. Thanks for joining us today.